Here's your news for April 29th, 2020. Let's dive into some major headlines for today. Gerald Brisco comments on his release. WWE willing to release more employees. WWE releases another big name. Chris Jericho's advice to released WWE wrestlers. A doctor advises AEW wrestler to retire, and more. We're starting today with news from WWE, as the company is reportedly dealing with releases in a very unique way. Up until recently, the company was locking down talent in long-term, big-money deals to prevent the roster going to AEW. But now, WrestleVotes are reporting a different attitude backstage, saying, "Hearing from a few different sources that WWE is willing to grant a release to just about anyone who requests one. Basically, if a talent wants out, they can go. Will be interesting to see if anyone really does want out, especially during this uncertain time. It'll be interesting to see if any superstars do walk away from the company, as given the ongoing global situation, there are little to no independent shows operating right now. This would likely mean that stars will be hesitant to walk away from their lucrative contracts with WWE, especially with so many former superstars being cut from the company earlier this month. While AEW is still operating and has big money backing them, it's also been reported that the company is trying to run out of budget, meaning they may not be looking at signing new stars at this time either. Speaking of releases, Dave Meltzer recently reported that Gerald Brisco had been let go from WWE after 35 years, but according to the former Hardcore and 24/7 champion himself, that isn't exactly what happened. On Twitter, the Hall of Famer explained Meltzer's error by saying that he had been furloughed, and the word is that WWE are hoping to bring back many furloughed staff as soon as July, though of course this time frame depends on when people are able to travel again. As a former wrestler and backstage personality in WWE, it shouldn't be too difficult for Brisco to land a gig somewhere in the industry, especially as he's credited at recruiting a young Brock Lesnar to WWE. Speaking of WWE's recent releases, another huge name has reportedly been cut from the company, as Cain Velasquez is no longer a WWE superstar. On Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer said that WWE had released the 37-year-old former MMA fighter after he signed a multi-year deal with the company back in October last year. Appearing on the 1000th edition of SmackDown to confront the new WWE champion Brock Lesnar, Velasquez was handily defeated by the Beast at Crown Jewel, and didn't appear on WWE since due to recovering from knee surgery. It's believed that Velasquez was cut due to the company's recent cost-cutting measures, which has seen several staff members be furloughed and top executive salaries being cut, and Meltzer commented on how little the former UFC heavyweight was being used, even before the current global situation. He said, "Obviously the only thing they wanted to do was so Brock Lesnar could get his win and they could have a celebrity for Saudi Arabia. After that, he was going to be in the Royal Rumble, and then for whatever reason they decided against it and they haven't even thought about him since. He worked a show in Mexico City, but that was it." Meltzer added that Velasquez hasn't been training at the Performance Center lately, and while WWE had him scheduled to be at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, that obviously didn't happen. Though he had just one televised match in WWE, Velasquez has shown great potential as a professional wrestler, though fans won't be seeing him compete in Vince McMahon's company for the time being. One man who knows all about what it means to leave WWE is Chris Jericho, and the former AEW World Champion has shared his thoughts on WWE's recent releases. Speaking to TV Insider, he explained, "It's an interesting time right now, because a lot of guys got released. By proxy, you went from a business that was very profitable in many different levels to everything grinding to a halt. Hopefully many of them will get picked up by different companies. Some guys may have to go overseas. I don't know what AEW has planned. That's not really my wheelhouse. But I'm sure everybody is going to land where they should land. It's just how it goes." Many of the stars released have shown an interest in AEW, as Zack Ryder, who is already close friends with Cody Rhodes, used a popular AEW attorney to lock down some trademarks. The company also teased the Revolt joining the company during the latest Being the Elite, and it'll certainly be interesting to see which former superstars were all elite after all. Now, we all know that Stephanie McMahon has a lot of accolades to her name, including part-time wrestler, former women's champion, general manager, and WWE's chief brand officer, but now the billion-dollar princess is adding another big claim to her resume. This week, Stephanie joined the board of directors for the Ad Council, America's leading nonprofit organization dedicated to using communications to drive social change. Not only is the board chaired by the Chief Revenue Officer of Facebook, David Fisher, but McMahon will be surrounded with like-minded successful people, including Blake Chandley, the VP of Global Business Solutions for TikTok, and Jamie Lomas, the Director of Global Advertising Sales for Amazon. In an address from the Ad Council's CEO Lisa Sherman, she spoke about how the group will continue to drive lasting changes, especially given the current global situation, as the WWE Chief Brand Officer is going to be even busier in the coming months. We've got news from AEW next, and while MJF recently revealed on Dynamite that he's suffering from a terrible elbow injury, it seems that nobody believes him. On Twitter, the self-proclaimed Salt of the Earth addressed his doubters and posted a note from his alleged doctor, who claimed that the injury is so severe that the doctor urged for MJF to retire from the ring for good. Perhaps this medical note would seem more believable if the so-called doctor didn't describe MJF as truly better than us, or describe the AEW star's elbow as overhealed, and we can't think of many medical experts who sign their notes with pink crayon. Clearly, this note is a fake by MJF, who continues to be one of the most charismatic heels in AEW, and with the company set to tape new content in the first week of May, hopefully MJF and his quote, strongest elbow in the history of humankind will be a part of the tapings. Back to SmackDown now, and the Blue Brand's mysterious hacker has struck once again with another strange video. Over the past few months, the hacker has gone from sending glitches to the show to interfering with actual angles, as fans have speculated that Mustafa Ali or Chad Gable may be behind it. It's certainly interesting that the Twitter account being used to belong to a WWE support campaign, and it'll be interesting to see which superstar, or superstars, are revealed as the SmackDown hacker. Now, we all know that WWE hasn't been able to tour lately due to the global situation, but that means one of the company's biggest live events has been reorganized. Last month, the WWE rescheduled their traditional Road to WrestleMania show in Madison Square Garden, and now the company is postponing the event once again, pushing the event back to an unknown date, according to PW Insider. The show was originally scheduled to take place on March 22nd and feature both a reunion by DX as well as the first NXT Women's title match inside the Garden before it was pushed back to June and now to an undisclosed date. This isn't the only major change for WWE's touring schedule, as the WWE's live event tour of Australia and New Zealand, which was scheduled for August, has officially been postponed due to the ongoing global situation. The news was broken by the live entertainment company TEG Dainty, who also issued a statement saying they were working with WWE to secure new dates. And with shows in Melbourne and Sydney, Australia postponed, as well as Auckland, New Zealand, this clearly isn't good news for the fans who don't get to see WWE live often, even during normal times. Things are going from bad to worse for WWE right now, and the company is getting sued once again by their own shareholders. This latest lawsuit was filed on April 24th by shareholders Ryan Merholtz and Melvin Klein, and some big names are being called out in the suit, including Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, and Triple H, as well as former co-president George Barrios and veteran member of the board Frank Riddick III. The lawsuit claims that WWE's dealings with Saudi Arabia has led to financial downfall, claiming, "The company's most senior executives and directors took advantage of WWE's inflated stock price to sell millions of dollars worth of their own WWE shares during this time period." The aforementioned sale took place a few days before the company's 2019 first quarter call to investors, meaning that those in WWE sold their stock knowing of the Saudi problems, while other investors didn't. This lawsuit also calls out the recent treatment of WWE superstars who were kept for an additional 24 hours in Saudi Arabia, allegedly due to a conflict between Vince McMahon and the Saudis. This wasn't the only controversial part of the deal that was addressed, as the 44-page lawsuit documents also noted WWE's stock tumbling due to the controversial nature of the Saudi Arabia shows, saying, "The company and its management faced blowback from fans and the media for their willingness to work with the Saudis, given the human rights abuses, denial of equal rights to women and minorities, and autocratic policies imposed during the reign of King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud and his son, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, MBS." It was added that this public backlash peaked after the decision was made to continue with the 2018 Crown Jewel event after the murder of Jamal Khashoggi, allegedly on the orders of the Saudi royal family. The lawsuit also pointed out that investors were not told of the tensions between WWE and Saudi Arabia, which ultimately affected the stock value. The recent firings of George Barrios and Michelle Wilson was also noted, as the company's stock fell from over $100 a share to just over $40 in February. And it's certainly interesting that $282 million in company stock was sold by WWE executives shortly before one of the investor conference calls in July last year. This isn't the only lawsuit facing Vince McMahon right now, as he's also being sued by former XFL Commissioner Oliver Luck for wrongful termination. And given the global situation leading to crowdless shows, it's certainly an uneasy time for the chairman of the board. While a lot of people are suffering due to the ongoing global situation, one person who seems to be doing just fine is Frank Riddick III, who has replaced former presidents Michelle Wilson and George Barrios in WWE after the pair were let go due to internal struggle and disagreeing with Vince McMahon's vision for the company. With 11 years as a WWE board member under his belt, Riddick has been appointed the company's new chief financial officer and has a very interesting arrangement with WWE, according to some recently uncovered documents. Being described as an at-will employee, the WWE can part ways with him for any reason, and Riddick is being paid a hefty $1.6 million, which equates to over $66,000 every 2 weeks. Upon signing his new deal, Riddick agreed not to conduct any insider trading, which has been a part of the aforementioned lawsuit by WWE's own investors. And though he's expected to work a minimum 40 hours a week, it's likely to be much more, considering the company's high demand. And we're ending today with news from Jon Moxley, as it wasn't long after Dean Ambrose left WWE that Moxley became the top star of AEW. While speaking to PW Insider, Moxley described the differences between working for Vince McMahon and working for Tony Khan, as he said, "Khan is business savvy, but he's also just an incredibly passionate wrestling fan. He's so easy to get excited. If I go up like, dude, I got this idea, what if we did this? And he'd be like, dude, that's awesome. What if we did this then? And then we could do that." And he'll get all excited like a little kid. This is much different to how McMahon treated Ambrose during his time with WWE, as he explained, "Whereas sometimes I come in and talk to Vince and I'm all excited and I'm like, dude, okay, here we go. We're gonna do this, then we do this on Raw, and then on pay-per-view this. What do you think?" And it's like talking to a door. Dude, hello, I'm giving you awesome. They're like, nope, we're just gonna do the same old crap we always do. Moxley is clearly enjoying his time in AEW, where his ideas are heard much more, and it'll be interesting to see which recently released WWE superstars make the jump to AEW when they can.